He's got his own signature, really, that comes from the world of jazz and the world of swing. But he's not belonging to either one, in a way. He kind of supersedes them in a way. He's developing his own style. And so in a funny way, when you go from the produced sound of Rags to Riches for Top 40 to his album with Bill Evans, there's the journey.
In the second act of Tony Bennett's career, when rock and roll came along and swept him out of the limelight, at least in the United States, and he lost his major record deal, I think it freed him to explore things he might not have done otherwise if he was under Columbia, when they insisted on doing pop records and nothing else. And so he was able to team up with Bill Evans, the great jazz pianist, and show that he was more serious than people had realized, perhaps.
And I got a record of Tony Bennett and Bill Evans, and I was stunned by the incredible partnership between Tony Bennett and Bill Evans. It was really 50-50.
Tony Bennett certainly doesn't need me to list his credentials as a singer. He is one of the great singers of all times, and he did something very interesting with Bill Evans, who is one of the great jazz pianists. They teamed up, put an album together, just piano, and Tony singing with a piano, which most singers would not even want to attempt. But they did it, and the results are called the Tony Bennett, Bill Evans album, and we thought you might like a taste of what they've come up with. Would you welcome, please, Tony Bennett and Bill Evans.
When in Spain, for reasons I don't explain, I remain enjoying a brew, right, Ed? Don't deplore my fondness for Fundador. You know how a Fundador can lead to a feud. And baby, when in Rome, I do as the Romans do.
If you don't go with a big ensemble behind a vocalist, the best thing I think to do is to get down to that really one-to-one kind of thing,
You originally were going to do two guys?
Yeah, well, that was...
Could have gotten Ferranti and Teicher,
Yeah.
Bill Evans was an orchestra. You didn't need any other musicians. What he did at the piano was so wrenching. It was so beautiful, harmonically new at the time. Also, he turned out to be a great accompanist for this iconic figure standing next to him.
And once again in Rome, in some little den in Rome, well, pussycat den in Rome, I do as the Romans, disregard the signs and the omens. When in Rome, I do as the Romans do.
He played like the ocean in a storm.
Yeah.
I loved it. He told me, he said, leave all your cronies home, and we recorded in San Francisco, and just the engineer and his producer, Helen Keane, who was his manager.
So it was his idea to do the album?
No, it was Annie Ross's idea.
Oh,
she told me, she got them together and said, why don't you guys do an album together,
Yeah.
And it was unbelievable. With each song, before we did it, it was about an hour and 15 minutes. He would figure out everything he wanted to play for me on it, and then he said, okay, I'm ready, let's try one and do one. And that went on, but it was what the public never heard, because what he was playing was unbelievable.
Yeah. No, he just one of those guys who had an amazing feel,
Mm-hmm.
an amazing way of voicing the chords, or picking his choice of chords to use and stuff.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's such an understanding of high level, and
Yeah.
all the greatest musicians, Miles Davis, everybody, they just ran to him and wanted to perform with him.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Wow. Excuse me?
You remember what you and Bill and Johnny Carson together?
I don't remember it, funny enough. We just used to do one shot after another and staying on the road.
Yeah.
But he was very special, a wonderful person, you know.
Yeah, I know his son lives up where I do.
I see.
He's kind of living there. He's trying to do music for movies as well.
Oh, very good.
But Bill Evans, unfortunately, didn't live long enough to do half of what he's really capable of doing.
And, you know, I must tell you that he really regretted that